Seems it never rains in Southern California.
We got Tony's 530 all but complete today. Power steering lines are where Mike left off last night. So whatever the rest of the work scope was happened today. And of course the work scope increased more. So the spark plugs were original at 157,000 miles and the diode was all but gone. Just black with carbon and crust and what happens when a spark plug lives in an engine for 157,000 miles. Coils were really nasty too, and they're cheap on this car. So we did 6 plugs, 6 coils. 2 of the plug wells were totally full of oil, so valve cover gasket, which led to vacuum hoses. It is the slippery slope of taking apart an old car with high mileage on it. So we haven't started it yet. We're letting the silicone, whatever gasket maker that you put over the timing cover and head interface cure overnight. We'll get it running tomorrow, and I think that's going to make a pretty tremendous difference just based on the plugs alone. Hopefully that brings the engine back up to spec. But all we've got to do tomorrow now is an oil change per his request, since we had the valve cover off, and a wheel alignment after the rear upper control arms. Sergio worked on the 2000 carbon black today. The transmission's back in. More complications here, of course. The starter motor threads were stripped out, so a lot of communication with the customer back and forth, and we put in a used remanufactured Bosch starter that we took off of one of the cars we dismantled years ago. And it was a really, really clean unit that looked brand new when we took it off, and it's installed now. Never tested it since we took it out, so I hope it still works after sitting on the shelf for 3 years. If not, we will get him a new Bosch unit that I can have in-house tomorrow. Other than that, the drive shaft is back in, the transmission's in, new transmission mounts, and ready to have the exhaust system reinstalled, heat shields, O2 sensors, plugged back in, stuff like that. And we'll get this thing running, a little bit of test driving, make sure it's good to go. Transmission fluid needs to go in tomorrow morning, and he could be picking up early next week. I worked on Sean's 01M5 today for a couple hours. Some little stuff, just tools in the trunk that were missing. I did both door gaskets, some other interior trims. I didn't get to that passenger mirror actuator motor yet, so that'll have to be tomorrow. And then my 540 is in here. I'm not driving it tonight because I've taken the cowl apart. Wipers are off, cowl's out, cabin boxes are out. All of those parts are over here, thoroughly cleaned and ready for reinstallation tomorrow after my new windshield goes in. So the windshield I purchased initially showed up on Tuesday. I had it scheduled for Wednesday, but the guys at the dealer found that it was damaged somehow. There's a chip in it somewhere. So they ordered another one that came in today, and it is over here. Came in a huge box, this box right here. And it looks like this. This is, of course, is the 2002 Plus windshield with the rain light sensor and appropriate prism, genuine BMW, so that'll be going in tomorrow. All I'm having the installer do, and I'm very thankful that they're willing to do this, is come out here, cut that glass out, and put this one in. That's it. I don't want anybody else messing with the cowl, the wipers. Can they do it? I'm sure they can. They do thousands of cars, but I don't know that it would be right, and wiper alignment, and there's just so many little tricks of getting this all to go together right and torquing the wipers and things like that, that I take the time and effort to do and clean everything up. And plus I can just save myself a bunch of money. Talking about wipers here, I took that back to black stuff to all of these plastics, and I might do another application tomorrow, but it has significantly darkened them up. These little plastic things on the wiper arms themselves. So all of those are more or less black. Again, they had faded to a almost black, but kind of a gray. If it were the M5, I'd replace the wipers, which is ironic because I don't use the wipers on that car. I just want them to look perfect. These I use all the time as I drive the car in the rain here, and I don't really care what they look like. I just want them to work well, and that's why there's new blades on there. There's a little bit of cleaning and inspecting under here to make sure everything's still clean and dry, and it is, which I'm happy about. With this snorkel off, I was able to look down in there and see that I had failed to properly clip one of the, let's get a light, one of the wiring clips onto the transmission when I replaced that. Wow, this light is totally useless. Let's try another one. Not a whole lot better, but you can kind of see it right down there. That wasn't clipped onto the bell housing of the transmission. Come on, focus. So I worked with that for a bit. Of course, I knocked it off and it fell down in the transmission belly pan I put on this car. So I had to crawl into the car with a magnet and rescue it. I also found out that the cable tie right here was not holding the DME wiring where it's supposed to be. So I replaced that cable tie and tightened all that up, so it's how it should be. And you can just get a look at the valley pan as my light dies. You're not going to see it on camera, but the top of it is kind of oily with some oil residue, but there's no leaking coolant, which is good. And I confirmed with service history that it was done probably a year or two before I acquired the car, which is great. Shouldn't have to do that for a while. Took the mirror out of the M3 and the same owner's M5. Obviously, we've got the bubble here, very obvious. That'll be going out for repair. This one, less obvious, though you can see a line at the top, and I'm thinking that's just what this mirror looks like, and it changes. If I let it sit like down on its right corner, then you get more air in the left, and it was sitting like this, and now there's more air in the right. So I'm hoping the same guy can do this mirror as well. It's the 03, 04 plus square mirror, the ugly mirror in my opinion, with the SOS button. Works the same way. M3 and M5 use this same mirror surround, which of course broke on the M5. I expected this to be either NLA or $500. Nope, they're in town and they are $7. So I ordered that. I'll get in tomorrow. It'll long beat the mirror back from Texas. This 03 M5 goes off to the body shop Monday, and it'll be there a little while. They're going to overhaul both the front and rear bumpers and potentially redo this fender. We'll see what they say about these scuffs up in the right corner. Front right door is going to be repaired. Rear right door is going to be replaced. So tomorrow we'll need to take everything apart, figure out exactly what they want off of the door, but we'll be removing all the Shadowline trim pieces in addition to the door panels and the mirror, probably the handle, window regulator, waist trim down there. All of that's going to come apart. So a couple hours labor. It's locked right now, but we'll get her done. 11:24 and wrapping up Thursday. I got a triple. I'm doing that now, I guess, at In-N-Out, and watch some All in the Family and kind of my usual come home late, stay late, work late kind of night. Talked to Nate a little bit, talked to Larissa on the phone just for a few minutes, and I'm going to bed now. I got to pack my lunch for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a day of just kind of preparing bodywork and bumpers and stuff for drop off on Monday, finishing up the 530 and that 2000 Carbon M5. And I need to turn my work brain off. So I'm going to do that. We'll catch up on these vlogs eventually. Talk to you guys on Friday. Good night.